gray and drizzly day, and I'm joining you on my balcony. And today we're going to talk about our final improvement to our property for our Earth Day Challenge, which is composting. Now, I think a lot of us have heard this term before, but what is composting? So composting is when we take decaying or decomposing plant or animal matter and we let it decompose a little bit and then we add it to our soil. So when I say something's decomposing, that means it's breaking down into nutrients. So if we think of an example of this, we have salmon every year that make the journey from the ocean and they swim upstream and they lay their eggs. And what happens after they lay their eggs is they die, which can be really sad. But the silver lining of it is that they add a lot of nutrients into that system. So they die and then their bodies decompose and add nutrients. When we compost, what we're doing is we're taking animal waste like manure, different things like that, or we're taking like vegetable scraps, maybe some grass clippings, so that plant waste, and we're letting it decompose a little bit, go back into nutrients, and add that into our soil. So those new plants that we're trying to get to grow, they have nutrients. And we call that composting. And so we add all these nutrients back in. And some things that we can compost are like food scraps like watermelon rinds, banana peels, apple cores. If you didn't eat all of the lettuce that you bought, you can put that out there. That decomposing plant matter is really helpful. And then some other things that we can compost are manure and some animal waste. But it's really important if you're going to compost any sort of animal waste to know what type of animal waste you're composting. Like, for example, horse poop you can compost, and that's pretty good. And so there are many different types of ways to compost things. You might have heard of compost bins. So you could put like a little receptacle of some sort, like a bucket, in your kitchen, and after you peel a banana or after you take the skin off a potato, you put all of that into that bucket, and you can take it outside and put it in a bin and let it decompose a little bit. Sometimes you have to turn that, and then you can add that into your soil. We can also have compost trenches. You can have these big fenced in areas. This is more if you have like lots of grass clippings. So when you mow your lawn, you have some leftover grass, or if you go out and prune a tree, you can put those branches in there and that'll decompose. And then there's also some other really cool ways to compost. Like you can put a trench near your garden and put your compost directly in there and let it decompose and add nutrients. Here are some examples of different methods of composting. We have some pretty cool creatures that help us with compost as well. They help decompose and break down that plant and animal matter. And some of those are things like worms. You find them in your soil. So microbes, little tiny things that we need a microscope to see. We can't see them with just our eyes. They help break things down, things like bacteria. We also have fungi that helps us break things down. So kind of like mushrooms, different types like that. And they all help us with composting. They help break that down, and they're really good for our soil. And so composting is really helpful because it makes our soil better because it has good nutrients for plants that they need to grow. 2, it helps them hold lots of water. When you add compost, it makes that soil hold lots and lots of water. And 3, it's pretty cost effective. We don't need to have as much fertilizer put on our soil, and we don't have to add in things to make it better soil. And also it helps us decrease our waste because we're using that waste from our kitchen that we would normally throw away. It would go in the garbage can. We're using that around our house to help us grow some better plants. All right, here we are back at my aunt and uncle's ranch. And over here, I just chose to put in a compost bin. I put it next to the house, so if it's really cold in the winter, they don't have to walk that far if they have food scraps. All right, so tomorrow I will show you how to enter into the contest if you haven't already. I've received quite a few amazing entries. You guys are blowing my mind with how creative you are. It's awesome. It's great to see. And I will show you how to enter in tomorrow. Our entries are open through Monday, so if you have any friends who are, you want to do this with you and challenge each other, you can let them know about it. And I will see you guys tomorrow.